Welcome back to Bloom. Mental health is just as important as physical health. There has been increased levels of stress, anxiety, and loneliness, and the pandemic has only made matters worse. And one group is really feeling it, Gen Z. Joining us now to discuss how to identify mental health issues early on and the steps to take to manage stress is the author of 12 Hours of Heaven and life coach, Rick Ornelas. Welcome to Bloom, Rick.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Rick, why is Generation Z on the verge of a mental health crisis? And by the way, that would include 68 million Americans. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, so, they are the biggest generation right now. And the signs have been there for a while. And the American Psychological Association, in their stress surveys that they do annually, have seen these signs coming. There's gun violence, there's racial tension, harassment, financial instability, politics, climate change, even social media. All those things put undue pressure on Generation Z because they are the digital generation. They are so overly connected, with 55% of them on their smartphones for more than 5 hours a day and 26% on their smartphones for more than 10 hours a day. All that time and that constant input is just providing all sorts of undue pressure, and it's leading to these spikes in anxiety and depression and stress in that generation.
It's interesting. I have 4 daughters, and they all fall in the range of Gen Z, born between 1998 and I believe 2012. I might be wrong on that, but I can see each and every one of them. They have gone through their own stressors, especially over the last year with the pandemic. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice to hear you have 4 daughters. So I have 3 daughters myself, and they also are all in Gen Z. But the stress, the stress has actually increased because of the pandemic. Digital nature has increased with more time on the mobile devices and more time in isolation. And that's the big challenge. It's that isolation and loneliness that has been amplified by the pandemic, so that it just has added that extra degree of pressure for individuals that are still developing. I mean, your average Gen Z, they're not going to have a fully developed brain until their mid-20s. So they sometimes they don't know how to process things. They don't know how to handle it, and it just comes out as raw emotion, rather than logic or rational decision making, like it may be for someone in an older generation like us.
So what are some simple ways that we can manage the stress? Because even as an adult, I find myself just having to, turn off the radio, put down my cell phone, and just walk away from it because it becomes so overwhelming.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there's three simple tips that I like, and these are something that anyone can do. The first one is meditation. So research has shown that in teens and young adults, meditation actually reduces blood pressure and reduces stress. And it can be very simple. It doesn't have to be challenging. Just 5 minutes of stillness. They can put on music. They can just sit there and focus on their breath. And there's so many apps out there that can help guide them through the process, but that's really going to help. The second one is one that I really like because, I've always been someone that will talk to myself in my own head, right? And studies have shown that if you give yourself a personal pep talk, if you actually speak to yourself in the third person, and it may sound something like, Gayle, you're going to have a great day. You're going to do awesome today. I know this is tough, but you're going to get through it. You've gone through tougher times before. That's really going to help. And the last one is something that you just mentioned, is to try to take back that daily input control. So if you're just getting bombarded from all sides with, garbage in, garbage out, then it's going to really make it challenging. But if you can manage that, whether it be from social media or from friends or family, try to surround yourself with positivity, then that's going to help reduce that stress and make you feel overall better.
Rick, we have just under a minute. Any resources that you can point us to?
Yeah, sure. So the best resources would be, as I said, there's lots of apps to help with meditation, gratitude, positivity. People can go to isparkchange.com. They'll see daily positivity there. But I would urge everyone to just seek the emotional support of others. So most of them are going to go to friends first and significant others before they'll go to family and parents. But seek that additional support. seek to make connection with others, positive connections, get outside of your own head, and seek outside help if you need it. So whether it be from a psychologist or social worker or therapist, school counselor, any of those, just seek those resources. And the good news is that Generation Z is the most willing to seek mental health resources. So if they can do that, they're definitely going to improve. And the last thing I'll say is that 60% of Generation Z wants to change the world. So if we help them in that, I know they can get there.
I totally stand behind that, Rick. Thank you so much for joining us on Bloom. And again, I want to repeat that website. It is isparkchange.com, or you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at isparkchange. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.